We are twins. We were born on December 9th, 1939, in Shanghai. We are not Chinese. Our life has been interesting, but everything started with the sound of change. There was a sound. It was a sound of change. There was always change in the air, especially since Pearl Harbor. But this is different. This is a sound of change coming to us, of change being here. So we went out to investigate and we joined what felt like the rest of everyone else in the refugee district to the entrance to see what was going on. And we looked down the street to see the full might of the Imperial Japanese Army, with row after row after row of Japanese soldiers and these giant tanks behind them. This is the change that we were hearing, and this change is here for us. After the Japanese arrived, we were moved from our one room for our one family, the four of us, to one room for our one family and four other families. We were lucky though. We had a corner with a window, and from that window, we could see the bathroom. The families were all separated within the room with a curtain for privacy, they said. But life in the ghetto kept going. It was pretty normal. We had a open ghetto, so we were able to leave the ghetto through the entrance by the Japanese guards and walk the couple of blocks to school. It was a refugee school built by the refugees for the refugees. Sure, now there were dead bodies that we were stepping over, but those were everywhere. In the ghetto, outside the ghetto, they were just there. We would also be told to put on talent shows because everyone wanted to come see us. For we were the pretty twins. We would sing in languages we didn't know and dance in these pretty costumes. But but life in the ghetto could also be scary, especially those air raid sirens. Those loud ear-piercing shrieks that would go off whenever the American bomber planes would fly over. When those went off, we would have to open our window, the window we were lucky to have. Open it as wide as it could go, and then quickly go where everyone else was to the center of the building and wait. Wait as those planes flew across the sky. They never did bomb us, but we didn't always know that. So, but when the air raid sirens would stop, life would continue. So, other than the air raid sirens, life was pretty good in the ghetto. It was autumn 1945 when the sound of change happened again. It was a sound of the lack of Japanese boots. Normally in the ghetto, there is a sound of Japanese boots as they patrol the perimeter around the ghetto. But here, they're not there. It's quiet. It's a sound of something else, a sound of excitement, a sound of happiness, a sound that we haven't quite heard since before the ghetto. So we went out to investigate. And there in the center of the ghetto are all the adults, all cheering and jumping and happy and hugging each other and crying. And there are no Japanese nearby. Our father would tell us that it is because the Japanese are not nearby that everyone is celebrating. Because the Japanese are gone and we don't have to stay here anymore. We can go home. We're free. A few years after the Japanese left, we were told we could leave Shanghai. We could go anywhere in the world as long as it made sense. Some took that opportunity to go home, to go to Europe. Others took that opportunity to go to Israel. Us, we took that opportunity to go to America. Us and thousands of other refugees boarded this big boat to America. We were all placed in this big room at the bottom of the boat and told to stay there. There were these bunk beds for us to sleep in, with beds 3 beds tall. There were a lot of those there. We were told we could do whatever we want in that room as long as we stayed. in that room. But there's only so much that a kid could do in that one room. And there were these stairs that we weren't supposed to go up. And one day when no one was paying attention to us, when no one was watching those stairs, we went up them. We went up those stairs and found this long hallway with doors on either side, all of them closed except for one. So we peeked our heads in to see what was going on, and there was this group of soldiers all watching something that we couldn't quite see. So we opened the door just a little bit more to see what they were looking at. And they were looking at the wall. It was a weird wall. There was something going on it. There were people moving, dancing, singing, with music coming from somewhere. We didn't know it at the time, but that was a movie. We didn't stay long, though. We didn't want to get caught. So we went back through the hallway, back down the stairs, back to the room where everyone else was. And no one noticed. We didn't get caught. And it was at that moment that we knew America is going to be different. It's been 3 weeks since we boarded the boat from Shanghai, and we've landed in America. San Francisco, California, to be exact. And boy, America, it really is different. I mean, even the way they drink water here is different. I mean, back home, back in Shanghai, Papa would have to boil the water on the coal stove before we could even think about drinking it. Here, they don't even do that. They just drink it as if nothing's wrong with it. And there are these boxes that people drink out of. I think they're called water fountains. And then there's our hotel room with a big real bed for us to sleep in. And the bathroom's connected to the hotel, to our room, to where we sleep. Wow. America really is different. It's been 75-ish years since we arrived in America, and life has happened. We went our separate ways, but we came back together. We came back together in LA. We thought about telling our stories, but no one wanted to listen. We weren't survivors. It wasn't until recently, the past decade or so, that Germany said that anyone who was affected by the Nazis, whether you were in hiding, on the run, or displaced from your home, you were all survivors. So, in May 2022, the Museum of Tolerance asked us to tell our story, for we were now officially survivors. And so we did. But not because we were now officially survivors, but because we knew that we were always survivors. The Jews of the Shanghai ghetto were always survivors, for we survived the exile. We survived the ghetto. We survived the decade of silence. We have always been survivors, so we will tell our story.
Thank you, Rowan. That captured some of our story.
It's a long story. I can't do that in 10 minutes.
Long and complicated story, but it was lovely. Thank you so much.
Exciting. It really was. Thank you so much. We worried how you could put our story together because it's different. Yeah. And we were kids when a lot of this happened to us. So it's not the same kind of memories. Right. So amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Whole stack of things.
One.
Oh, you're adorable.
Rowan, you are now officially a Teach the Shoah storyteller, a LeSaper storyteller. Please go forward and tell the twins' story as long as you can and wherever you can.
Right? Wait, which one's this one? This one. That's complicated. It is complicated. Monika. That's what I thought. Monika. I promise to keep your memory and to tell your story. All the chaos that it is.
Thank you so much.
Oh, the photo fell out. Photo. Yes, how exciting. Gitta, I promise to keep your memory and to tell your story.
Thank you so much. Can I say, but we are standing.
Have my back.
Help them down.
Okay, maybe we can work.
Yes, of course.
Gonna go around.
Thanks, Robert. It was a real challenge. Thank you.